Hello again, and I'm taking a deeper look into the old radio that I showed on the previous video. This one I was estimating to have been built in the 70s, possibly 80s, I'm really not sure. But in the previous video I said I'd be taking this apart and examining it, and I'll show you what I found. Two of the coil wires were detached, this one pink one marked with the green, and this is recently detached, and it was to the tuning coil here. Let's take a look on the back, and one with marked with green came through here, and I thought it went to there, but close examination says it looks like it went to there. Time you pull it through and possibly went around here. We'll take a look at the circuit I've drawn out just now. So I was very interested into how this coil was arranged into the circuit and the coil arrangement on the coil there. So I've yet to take this out and run this through a multimeter to find the values and arrangement. But here's the circuit I've drawn out so far, just to get a grasp of the basic detection of the radio signal. You can see at the top we've got a coil and rod, and its shape section is there. I'm going to do some measurements to find out the lengths of these things. And from examination I found there's one end of the coil comes to this side of the tuning capacitor. There's an AM and FM side. One are there, the red and blacks are there, and this detached green. I was umming and erring about that. I did put it to this pin, and then I've subsequently moved it round to this pin, and these seem to be common centre anyway. So that's the arrangement they've got for the radio. This is the side we're interested, mainly the AM side. And we can see here we have a telescopic aerial through a 22 picofarad into a parallel LC network, 30p and 3.5 turns, which is this section here. The red wire is the aerial. This is your 22p. This 30p unfortunately collapsed upon examination. And there's your coil there. It's a 50p capacitor coming away here. So this is essentially the output of this coil section. They were coming into the FM section here. Resistor away, and it's into a transistor here. And it's processed, and I haven't gone any further into that section. Beyond this will be the superhet section, the other oscillators and detectors. We're just interested in the method they've used in the primary basic part of a radio, which is the coil and aerial setup. You get this section correct from the beginning, and what you've got to hand in the calculations, this, you know, your number of turns, permeability of the rod, the aerial, what it's made of, and balancing it out for the best signal throughput. So you can see how they've split it across the two sections. So I think for my project I'll be taking this capacitor and LC network back to the center pin. As you can see here, they've got the coil and the aerial arrangement on this capacitor here, and the output of the signal through the final capacitor that you can take off to wherever you want for your next section for your amplifier. So here we have the same thing again. Compressed, there's your coil to those two pins, the tuned aerial to the center pin, finally out through this capacitor, and another 50 picofarad. And there's the circuit here. The 50p capacitor is here. Just there, you can just see it there. And I haven't traced the circuit fully, but it goes into this trimmer here and away from there. I'm guessing this is some kind of RF amplifier trimmed up to pass it down to the next section. It'll be coming down this way. into this lot, coming this way. Appears the FM section's the same as far as we've mapped it. I've only mapped it up to this transistor and resistor capacitor network here. It clearly goes into the FM coil, sorry, the FM tuner side and its associated aerials. And then again, we're into trimmer capacitors. And down here, this will also be the oscillator and superhead section. And your amplifier as well, because you've got your on-off volume here, your band selector, and of course you've got to come back across the board. And upon examination, you see that there's a pair of red wires, and that leads to the speaker. So they've got a push-pull amplifier section running here. This little lovely wound inductor here is part of the speaker system coming round the board. As you can see there, so there's your push-pull amp section through that little wound inductor I showed you, and it's coming back round to the volume pot here. There's your output there, round to the amp. So somewhere in here the wiper will be going in to the switch, the band selector, the flick between the AM and FM. And so the signals from both sections that have been brought up here somewhere through the final stage should probably some decoupling capacitors, I would have thought. But there we go. So nice little path of discovery there. And all I'm going to be interested in is removing that coil. And we'll bell it out to find the resistances, etc. And maybe work out inductances, etc. from there. Work out the number of turns. Rebuild this section on a test board to get it to look like this. And I'll just take my output to whatever amplifier I choose. We'll see how this tuning system works on a test board. It'll be interesting to find out. See if we get anywhere with it and what sort of response and selection it gives. And we'll see you in the next video.